Novo Nordisk is a great example of how the market can move from underestimating a franchise to overcapitalizing it, and then to overcorrecting in the other direction. The big past success is obvious. Semaglutide turned Novo from a strong diabetes company into the defining obesity drug winner of the decade. Reported sales rose from DKK 127 billion in 2020 to DKK 309.1 billion in 2025, while diluted EPS reached DKK 23.03 and the dividend rose to DKK 11.70, marking the 30th consecutive annual dividend increase. But one of the market's past mistakes was assuming that obesity leadership would automatically mean durable monopoly-like economics, flawless next-generation execution, and permanently elevated valuation multiples. That is why today's valuation looks so different. On your chart, the stock is around DKK 237, which is only about 10.3x trailing EPS based on 2025 diluted EPS. For a company that was once treated like a near-perfect growth compounder, that is a dramatic compression. In other words, the market is no longer paying for peak excitement. It is pricing Novo more like a business entering a tougher phase of competition, pricing pressure, and slower growth. And yet this is still a company returning substantial cash to shareholders, with a new share buyback program of up to DKK 15 billion and expected total cash returns above DKK 60 billion in 2026. The current price action makes sense when you look at what happened this year. In February, Novo shocked the market by guiding for a 5% to 13% decline in adjusted sales and operating profit at constant exchange rates for 2026, citing lower realized prices, especially in the US, fiercer competition, and semaglutide patent expiry in some markets. Reuters reported the shares fell 16% on that warning alone. Then came another blow. CagriSema, which investors hoped would reinforce Novo's leadership, delivered 23% weight loss versus 25.5% for Lilly's Zepbound in a head-to-head trial, and the stock dropped about 15% again. Since then, Lilly has also won US approval for its oral obesity pill, adding another competitive threat, while Novo has been forced to cut Ozempic and Wegovy prices again in India after semaglutide patent expiry and generic entry. But the story is not broken. Novo's own oral Wegovy pill was approved in December and launched in early January, with 18,410 US prescriptions in its first full week, which Reuters described as a strong debut. The official approval package also showed 16.6% mean weight loss in the Oasis 4 trial. So the valuation debate now is simple. Is Novo just derating from extraordinary expectations to a more normal multiple, or is the market now too pessimistic about a still dominant metabolic franchise? My view is that today's price already discounts a lot of bad news. If oral execution, supply discipline, and next-wave obesity assets stabilize sentiment, the re-rating potential is meaningful. But until management proves that on results, with Q1 2026 due on May 6, the stock will likely trade as a wounded former leader, not yet as a fully trusted premium compounder again. Let's go straight into the risks, because with Novo Nordisk, the issue in 2026 is not whether demand for obesity and diabetes treatment exists. It clearly does. The real issue is whether Novo can defend pricing, market share, and investor confidence as the category becomes more competitive and more price-sensitive. Management's 2026 outlook already reflects that shift. Adjusted sales and adjusted operating profit are both expected to decline 5% to 13% at constant exchange rates, with pressure from lower realized prices, tougher competition, and semaglutide patent expiry in certain markets. The biggest risk is pricing pressure. Novo has already moved to lower price models in the US, including discounted self-pay access for Wegovy, and Reuters reported broader subscription-style discounting to stay competitive. That may support access, but it also tells you the economics of this market are changing. A business that was once driven by scarcity and extraordinary pricing power is now facing a much more contested environment. The second major risk is Eli Lilly. Lilly's oral obesity pill won US approval on April 1, directly challenging Novo in the oral segment just as Novo is trying to build momentum with oral Wegovy. At the same time, Novo's next-wave candidate CagriSema underperformed Lilly's tirzepatide in a head-to-head trial, reinforcing the fear that Novo may not fully close the competitive gap with its follow-on products. Another important risk is what happens when exclusivity weakens. In India, semaglutide patent expiry has already triggered generic competition, and Novo responded with another round of Ozempic and Wegovy price cuts. That matters because it gives investors a real-world preview of how margins can compress once a blockbuster franchise faces broader copycat pressure. Finally, Novo is still heavily tied to the GLP-1 and obesity story. That makes manufacturing, launches, and regulatory execution especially important. The company does have a broad late-stage pipeline, but that also means expectations remain high after sentiment has already been damaged this year. Novo's 2026 risks are less about demand disappearing, and more about the economics getting harder. Lower prices, stronger competition, selective patent pressure, and a much greater need for the next generation of obesity assets to prove themselves. Now the opportunity side, because with Novo Nordisk, the upside is not just about defending today's franchise. It is about proving that obesity treatment is becoming a broader, more scalable platform than the market now assumes. The clearest short-term opportunity is oral Wegovy. Novo got the first oral GLP-1 approval for weight management in the US, with Oasis 4 showing 16.6% mean weight loss, and the launch started strongly. Reuters reported 18,410 prescriptions in the first full-tracked week, then more than 26,000 in the second. That matters because pills can reach patients who are hesitant about injections and can make the category feel more mainstream. A second short-term lever is access innovation. Novo has been widening self-pay and telehealth distribution for Wegovy in the US, including discounted subscription-style plans. That may look defensive on the surface, but it also creates a real opportunity. Lower friction access can expand the treated population and reduce dependence on the traditional reimbursement bottleneck. In other words, Novo is not only selling a drug, it is experimenting with a different commercial model for obesity care. Longer term, the biggest opportunity is that Novo still has multiple shots on goal. The company has filed CagriSema with the FDA, advanced amycretin to begin phase 3 in 2026, and continues to build a broader cardiometabolic pipeline. Its own annual report also highlights that obesity care sales reached DKK 82 billion in 2025, showing how large the base business already is before the next wave arrives. If even one or two of these next-generation assets work well, Novo can extend leadership rather than merely defend it. There is also a structural opportunity in the size of the market itself. Reuters reported Novo believes oral pills could account for more than a third of the GLP-1 market by 2030. If that is directionally right, then the category is still in expansion mode, not maturity mode. That is why the opportunity framework is bigger than recover the old multiple. Scale oral obesity care, deepen the pipeline, and turn Novo from a single product winner into a broader metabolic health platform. Novo's upside is not just a rebound story. It is the possibility that easier access, oral expansion, and next-generation assets reopen a much larger growth runway than the market currently credits. Looking at analyst ratings, the message is mixed, and much more cautious than you might expect for a company like Novo Nordisk. There is only one strong buy, 5 buy ratings, a very large 18 holds, 0 sell ratings, and 1 strong sell. So this is not a strongly bullish setup, but it is also not a bearish collapse in confidence. What this tells us is that analysts still respect the quality of the business, the strength of the franchise, and the long-term opportunity in obesity and diabetes. But at the same time, most of them are no longer willing to be aggressively positive until the company proves that growth, competition, and execution are moving back in the right direction. The big dominance of hold ratings suggests the market sees Novo as a company with major long-term value, but also with enough uncertainty right now that many analysts prefer to stay neutral rather than chase the stock. Novo Nordisk is still seen as a high-quality leader, but for now, the street mostly views it as a wait-for-confirmation story rather than a high-conviction buy.